My brother told our parents, "She's a woman, give the family business to me." They agreed and left me out. I was crushed, but then the lawyer said, "That's not what the will says." When my brother heard that, his smug expression disappeared. I still remember the moment my father told me I was out of the business. It felt like a knife in my heart. "This is a family business, kid. Your brother will take over. You'll be fine. You'll find something else." Something else? I had spent my whole life working for that business. I knew everything about it, every deal, every supplier, every employee. I wasn't just my dad's daughter, I was his best worker, but apparently, that didn't matter because I wasn't a man. My brother, Sean, sat there with his arms crossed, smiling smugly. I could still hear his voice. "She's a woman, Dad. This business needs a real leader." Like I hadn't been handling it already. Like I hadn't been running things while Dad took long vacations. Like I hadn't sacrificed so much because I believed in the company. But when it was time to hand over the business, they gave it to Sean. I got a pat on the back and a forced smile from my mom, who said, "You'll always be part of the family." I should have fought back, screamed, but I was too shocked and hurt, so I just walked away. That should have been the end of it. I should have found a new job or started my own business, but life had other plans. When the lawyer read the will, Sean's grin vanished. To back up a little, our family owned a successful logistics company in Chicago. It wasn't huge, but it was good. Dad started it, and I was part of it for as long as I could remember. While other kids played outside, I went to meetings. By high school, I was handling the accounts. In college, I was negotiating with suppliers. Sean? He barely finished college and didn't care about the business, but when Dad got sick, he started showing up at work, trying to convince everyone he was the one for the job. At first, I wasn't worried. Dad always said results mattered, and I had results. Sean had nothing, but I didn't realize how deeply rooted old-fashioned thinking was in our family. Then came the meeting that changed everything. I thought it was just a regular family dinner. Dad cleared his throat and said, "We've made a decision." I wasn't worried. I was sure it was a joke when he said, "Sean is going to be the new CEO." But when I saw Sean's smug face, I felt like the floor dropped out from under me. "This is what's best for the company," Dad said. "Dad, are you serious?" I asked, my voice shaking. "I've been running this business. Sean doesn't even know enough." He cut me off. "It's done." Just like that, I looked at my mom, hoping she'd speak up, but she just squeezed my hand. "You'll always be part of the family," she said. "Not part of the business, just the family." I don't even remember how I got home that night. All I remember is lying in bed, feeling like everything had been taken from me. Sean? He wasted no time showing off that he'd won. Sean's failure. Once Sean took over, things went downhill fast. I had built strong relationships with our clients and vendors, but Sean thought he was a genius. Even though he had no idea what he was doing, he fired key employees, made bad deals, and upset our biggest clients by raising rates for no reason. In 6 months, things were bad. In a year, the company was losing money, and I wasn't there to fix it. I tried to warn them. I called my dad and told him what was happening. "He just needs time to adjust," Dad said. I tried talking to my mom. "Be patient, this is his chance." His chance? I had one chance, and they took it from me. But then, karma stepped in. The will. A year after my father forced me out, he passed away suddenly from a heart attack. Sean was running the business into the ground. Mom was devastated, and I was just trying to rebuild my life. Then came the reading of the will. I went to the lawyer's office with no expectations. What could be left for me? A framed photo? A pat on the head? Sean was grinning like he'd won the lottery, but when the lawyer started reading, something didn't add up. I swear to God. Sean's face went pale when the lawyer said, "Actually, that's not what the will says." I leaned forward in my chair. "What?" Sean asked, sounding tense. The lawyer cleared his throat. "Your father left controlling interest in the company to his eldest child." The room was dead silent. Sean stared at me, and I stared back. That was when he realized he wasn't the eldest. I was. And just like that, Sean's smug look vanished. That's when the real fight began. For a few seconds, no one said anything. The only sound was the ticking of the clock. Sean sat frozen, his mouth slightly open, like he couldn't believe it. Mom looked confused. "What do you mean?" she asked. The lawyer adjusted his glasses and looked at me. "The will is clear. Your father left the majority of the company to his eldest child. That means her, not Sean." My heart was racing. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Dad had picked me. Sean shot up from his chair so fast that it nearly tipped over. "That's impossible. My dad told me I was getting the company," he shouted. The lawyer didn't flinch. "I'm just telling you what's in the will. Your father left you a portion of the business, but not enough to control it. The majority, 51%, belongs to your sister." Sean's face turned bright red. "No, No way, my dad would never do that. Mom tried to calm him down, but he brushed her off. His eyes were wild with anger. I sat there, gripping the armrest so tight my fingers hurt. I should have felt happy, but I knew Sean wouldn't give up easily. He'd fight me. And I was right. Sean tried to take what was mine. The next few weeks were awful. Sean refused to accept the will. He kept showing up at the office like he was still in charge, making decisions, bossing people around. He thought he could just ignore the truth and keep running the company. But legally, I owned it, and I wasn't going to let him walk all over me again. So I walked into the office on Monday morning and took my rightful place. The employees were shocked. Some looked relieved, others nervous. 5 minutes later, Sean stormed in. "You don't belong here," he snapped, glaring at me. I crossed my arms. "I own the company, Sean, you don't." He laughed, actually laughed. "You think you can run this place? No one will listen to you. They all respect me." I looked around. A few of the managers shifted nervously. They didn't respect him, they were just afraid of him. Then I said something that wiped the smile off his face. "I've already talked to the board. We're voting on your removal today." His jaw dropped. "What? You heard me. You're a disaster, Sean. You lost us millions. The board knows it. The employees know it. I know it." His face turned purple. "You wouldn't dare." "Oh, I would," I said, staring him down. And I just did. The vote happened that afternoon. Sean lost badly, 7-1. The only person who voted to keep him was himself. He was officially out. I thought that was the end of it. I thought I'd finally won. But Sean wasn't done making my life miserable. The sabotage. At first, things seemed to settle down. I took over as CEO and started fixing Sean's mistakes. Clients who had left under his leadership started returning. Employees who had been too scared to speak up started working hard again. I finally felt like I was starting to rebuild what Sean had destroyed. Then, weird things began happening. Financial records went missing, orders were cancelled by mistake, and emails were sent out in my name, emails I never wrote. At first, it was just small things, annoying but not serious. Then it got worse. One day, a supplier called and screamed at me for canceling a big contract, but I hadn't cancelled anything. When I checked the system, the request came from my login, but I never made it. That's when I realized Sean was sabotaging me. I knew I had to catch him in the act, so I set a trap. I called a fake meeting at a hotel and told the senior managers I'd be out all day. Then I waited, hiding in the supply closet of my office, watching the security feed on my laptop. Sure enough, Sean walked in. He had a key card. I watched as he went straight to my desk, opened my computer, and started typing. He was trying to destroy me again. I recorded everything, him sending fake emails under my name, deleting client files, and even transferring money to a fake vendor account. It was fraud, and now I had proof. The next morning, I didn't say anything. I let Sean think he had gotten away with it. He smirked at me like he still had power. But then, right when he thought he'd won, I pulled out the proof: wrongful termination, defamation, and manipulation of our father's will. The last one almost made me laugh. Sean had always acted like the company was his birthright, but now he was claiming I had somehow schemed my way into the will. It was crazy, but he had money, lawyers, and worst of all, he had Mom. I don't know why I thought my mom would stay neutral. Maybe I still hoped she'd see Sean for who he really was. I was wrong. I found out from one of the board members that Mom had posted Sean's bail. She used her savings to get him out of jail. When I confronted her, she sighed and said, "He's my son." "I'm your daughter," I yelled, "and he's trying to destroy me." She just shook her head. "You should have let him run the company. This wouldn't be happening if you hadn't taken it from him." It felt like a slap to the face. Taken it from him? It was never his, I said, but in her eyes, I would always be the one who didn't belong. That night, I walked away, realizing something painful. I had lost both my father and my mother. And Sean? He was still out there, plotting. The lawsuit dragged on for months. Sean did everything he could to make me look bad. He spread rumors that I bribed the lawyer to change Dad's will. He claimed I was stealing money from the company. He even got old employees to say I wasn't fit to run the business. It was exhausting, but I had the truth on my side. Then, right before the final court hearing, I got a call from my lawyer. "You need to see this," he said urgently. He sent me a document, one buried deep in our father's records, a second will, written 6 months before his death. And this one? It was completely different. It didn't just leave the company to me. It cut Sean out entirely. No shares, no money, nothing. This was before the final will that gave Sean a small stake. But why would Dad have changed it? Then I noticed something strange. The signatures were different. I sent both wills to a forensic specialist. A week later, I got the results. Dad's final will, the one that gave Sean a portion of the company, had been forged. Sean faked the will, and Mom knew. I sat in my lawyer's office, holding the report in my shaking hands. Sean had forged the second will. He knew Dad never wanted him to have the company, but instead of accepting it, he convinced Mom to help him change the will before Dad died. That's why Mom had stood by him through everything. She knew. She helped him. I felt sick. I confronted her that night. She didn't deny it. He deserved a chance, she said quietly. Your father was being unfair, she added. Unfair? I shouted. He chose me. Mom, you helped Sean commit fraud. She closed her eyes, looking tired. I did what I had to do. That was the last time I spoke to her. Sean always thought he was untouchable, even after being arrested, losing the company, and having the fraud exposed. He still thought he could get away with it. For a while, it seemed like he might. My mother hired the best lawyers to try to get him a reduced sentence, but she didn't realize that I wasn't done. I wanted Sean to suffer, just like he made me suffer, and I still had one last card to play, exposing his dirty secrets. I knew Sean. He was arrogant and careless. He thought he could get away with anything, so I hired a private investigator to dig into his past financial dealings. Within 2 weeks, we hit gold. Sean had been stealing long before Dad died. He had taken hundreds of thousands from company accounts and funneled the money into a secret offshore account. He used company funds to pay off his gambling debts. He even signed fraudulent contracts in the company's name, putting us at risk for huge lawsuits. I sent everything I found to the IRS, the FBI, the press. And just like that, Sean wasn't just facing fraud charges, he was under federal investigation. The trial that destroyed him. Once Sean realized I had all the proof, he tried to make a deal. He begged for a lighter sentence, but the prosecutors had too much on him. Sean was found guilty of corporate fraud, forgery, embezzlement, wire fraud. The judge didn't take it easy on him. Sean was sentenced to 15 years in federal prison. 15 years, no chance of getting out early. For the first time in his life, Sean had to face the consequences of what he did, and I made sure everyone knew I was the one who exposed him. Mom begged me for mercy, but she got exactly what she deserved. After the trial, she came to my office. She looked worn out, like someone who realized she picked the wrong side. Tears filled her eyes as she said, "Please, he's your brother." I looked at her for a long time and said, "No, he was your son, not mine." She wiped her tears and said, "You've already taken everything from him, just let it go." I actually laughed. "Let it go?" I said, "Like how you let me go? Like how you helped Sean fake Dad's will?" She flinched. "You deserve to lose him," I said coldly. "You deserve to feel what it's like to be betrayed by your family." She started to say something else, but I turned and walked away. I never spoke to her again. Sean's life in ruins. Sean went to prison, and I made sure he stayed there. Every few months, I heard updates. He tried to act tough and got beaten up within the first week. No one respected him because everyone knew he was a fraud. He had no money, no power, and no influence, just a prison cell. Mom lost everything trying to pay for his legal battles. She had to sell her house and move into a small apartment, living alone. And me? I thrived. I rebuilt the company from scratch. I doubled our revenue in 3 years. I became the leader Dad always knew I could be. I never looked back, and the best part? Sean will spend the next 15 years in prison, thinking about how he could have had everything if only he hadn't been so greedy. Final thought, karma always comes around. Sean thought he deserved the company. Mom thought I should have stepped aside, but in the end, I won. Not because I cheated, lied, or schemed. I won because I earned it. They destroyed themselves. That's what real revenge looks like. The end.